All right. So let's start with taking a deep breath in and out. And another one in and out. And on the next one, I want you on the out breath to really release any tension you might be holding. So on the next out breath, just shower yourself with relaxation, and you can visualize that by starting at the top of your head and sending that relaxation all to your head and to your face, through your neck and your shoulders, and don't forget to breathe in between, and through your torso, your arms, your organs, your bones, to your hips, your legs and your feet, and into the earth. And if you're noticing any particular tension you're still holding, just see if you put your awareness there, if it wants to shift a little, or just notice it, and then come back to your breath. And I also want you to notice your feet on the floor. If you can feel which parts are touching the floor, and if they're warm or if they're cold, dry, humid. And also the surface you're sitting on. What does that feel like? Does your back rest against something, or are you holding yourself upright? You might want to close your eyes if you haven't done yet so. And for the visualization, we want to go on a journey. So we want to really, use our imagination to get to a different place where we have less of our day-to-day influences. And we do that by journeying within our head. So once, you feel really grounded, just imagine that your top of your head opens and you let in a lot of, very bright light, the pure white light of creation, of pure potential, and you just let it spill in from your head into your body, the same as you did with the relaxation before. It's just a slightly different energy. Like a big vortex, it's just pouring into you and then into every cell of your body, permeating your whole body until you're all glowing with this pure white light. And you might notice it in your head in particular, or in other parts of your body. You just let that be. And now you imagine you're leaving your body and you're kind of going out of your top of your head, and we're moving through the magical lands to get you to the place where you can see your future. So you might just imagine, leaving your body, seeing yourself from above, maybe moving through that room you're in, where you're sitting, or the building, until you get higher and higher into the sky, into, other spheres. Maybe even until you're leaving our planet, right into the universe. Into the space of, infinity, nothing. You just keep going and going and going until you notice that your whole awareness is expanding and expanding and expanding, and there's nothing, no boundary anymore. It just can go wherever it wants. And you can imagine now that in front of you there's a staircase, like a winding staircase. You might have seen that in some fairy tale movies. So maybe there's some butterflies flying on it, or just notice, what it's made of. Is it wood, or is it stone? Is it light, or is it dark? And you just see this is like a staircase that's winding upwards, and it's telling you to take the first step. And you trust it because you do know that where you're going, it's a very, safe, nourishing place which will actually help you to connect with a future version of you. So you're like, okay. And you start taking those stairs. Or if you have trouble taking the stairs, then I'm sure there's a magical lift that will appear or some magical creature that's going to help you. And you just go. You can't yet see where it's going, so you just keep walking. Or let yourself be lifted. And it's going higher and higher and higher. You might notice if it's walled, or can you actually peek outside? Like if you can, what do you see? Is it the universe, or is there like a landscape maybe? A building? And eventually you notice that it's getting a bit lighter above you, and that it seems to be the end of the staircase. And getting closer, you notice that there's a door, like a wooden big door, and some light is coming through the cracks and the edges. And so you get to the door, and when you get there, this door just swings open. And you just feel you're drawn into this very bright space. It's not hurting your eyes or anything. It's just a really light and bright energy. It feels very welcoming. It feels very safe. It feels also very strange. You don't really know yet what that place is. But now that you enter, you realize, it's a bit like an orchard or like a garden. And it's, you see hedges and trees, and there's grass and flowers. And a lot of interesting things you could look at right now. But you know that you're here because you want to connect with your future. And you just ask, where do I need to go to see my future? And there's something, an energy or a magical creature, or maybe a vision of a person, and they're showing you the way to follow to your right. You keep walking about some path, it's winding a little bit. You can't really yet see where it's going, and there are some hedges now at the side. But now it's getting to a clearing. And in the middle of that clearing, with even more light from above, there's a beautiful tree. Might be a bit old, that tree. It's quite big, and it's quite sturdy. Lots of leaves on it. And there are other creatures sitting around, humans, animals, magical creatures, and they're little benches on the edge of the clearing where people are looking at things. Some of them are writing or drawing. And you keep walking around this tree. What is that tree? And someone's beckoning upwards, and you see that this tree held some very special fruit. It's like golden apples or something. You're not quite sure yet. And then this creature also points to a ladder. And you understand that if you want to see your future, you need to climb up and get that apple which holds your vision. So you do that. You take that ladder, and some people or creatures help you, so it's not going to fall. It's not very high, but you just need that little bit of extra help. And you hear where it's calling your name. One of these magical apples is calling your name. And you go there. And when you can see it and reach it with your arm, it almost by itself falls into your hand. It's quite heavy actually. It's bigger than a normal apple. But not too heavy to carry it back down with you. And so you do. And you're shown a place where you can sit. And look at this really amazing apple. It's like an apple, but it's made of gold or some metal. It's pleasantly warm, but not hot. And it feels a bit like an amulet or something. You can see that on the side. It's as if it can open. But you don't really know yet how. So you just hold it in your hand and you look at it. And you remember why you came. You came here because you want to see what would be the best version for your future in 2 years. And you almost start thinking about what that looked like. And then you realize actually, when you hold that apple with both hands and put your fingers on top, as if you want to tear it apart, you can actually open that thing very gently. It actually requires you to put both your hands on the one side each, and then it recognizes that it's actually you, because this apple holds only information for you. No one else could open it. And then it opens. And then before you is like a vision. It's like a hologram. It's something you can see, and you see something. It needs a bit to become clear. But eventually you see that you see yourself. You see yourself in 2 years from now. And you need to keep looking to get a clearer image. And the first thing you see is that there's you. You're still a bit blurry, but you can see where you are. You can see if you're inside or if you're outside. If it's an environment you know, or maybe it's a new place. If it's maybe it's a particular part of planet Earth that you're familiar with, or it's something new. And you might also notice what your future you of you feels there. What does it feel there where you are? Is it pleasant? What are you doing there? Are you just sitting around or lying around, or are you doing a particular activity? And once you have these details, you start to zoom a bit closer and you really look at yourself. And you can start to see what you're actually wearing, like the clothes you're wearing, or where your hair is done. If there's makeup on your face. And you realize you're dressed this way for a specific reason, which will become clear to you in a moment. You will also notice if you're on your own or if there are other people around you. And again, you also see how that feels. How do those clothes feel on you? Does it feel different to what you normally feel? So now you really want to know what this future vision of you is about. So you want to know more details about what your life's going to look like, what your work's going to look like, what, family, friends, health, finances. And you start to realize that you can ask that space or even yourself of your future self. And you're like, okay, what am I doing here? You might already have seen an activity, but what am I doing here? Like, am I, working on my dreams? Am I helping someone? Am I doing self-care rituals? What am I doing here and why am I doing it? And what's that vision? So that version of you in 2 years, they're working towards something, or they're doing something for a particular reason, like even if it's in their private life. And you want to understand what that is. Like, what are they trying to make happen, or with whom are they spending their time, and why? What is that? They're not just drifting. They have a purpose there. They're quite focused on something. What is that thing? And if you feel like that environment that you're seeing yourself in needs shifting to accompany that, or your purpose, or that reason why they're doing what they're doing, then of course that's possible, because we are, in that land where everything is possible. So you might see yourself in one environment, and so you might notice you also are in another one, because maybe you're not spending the whole day in the same environment. And once you're clear, like what that person is focused on what's filling out their days, you might have a little peek about if you see them eating anything in particular. What does their body look like? Is that the way you know yourself, or is that body different? A different shape? And the people around them, if they are they people you know already, or are they new people? And in which relationship are they there? It could be friends, could be clients, could be co-workers, could be community members. And now you can also ask, what is there anything else? How does this feel, everything you've seen? Do you feel like you've seen enough and you just want to know how they got there? Or do you feel like you need something else? Is there something missing that you haven't really explored yet? And feel free to jump around. So maybe, you could jump around in one day in the future. So maybe you've seen a scene from a morning or an afternoon, and now you want to see what they're doing in the morning or where they're waking up. You might need to even jump to maybe the next day in 2 years to see what else they're doing. So maybe you've seen a lot about, for example, your home life, but you're still not clear about their work life. Or maybe they have no work life, and that's an interesting information then. Or they have no family life. But we assume that in 2 years that they're in a very, very good position. You might even peek on their bank account if you want. Just keep looking until you feel like you have everything you want to know about what it's going to be like in 2 years. And also see them interacting with others and notice how are they interacting, Maybe they have become a leader in something. Or maybe just having heartfelt conversations with someone. Okay. And now you focus on the thing that really stands out for you most, the thing where you really feel like, yes, that felt the best. That thing in those 2 years is the thing that I want to make happen when I come back into my normal reality. That thing is a thing, if I focus on that and have that in 2 years, my whole life is going to change and everything is going to improve for me and for those around me and for maybe the planet as a whole. But focus on you. We're not doing, saving the planet here. You're simply doing what will uplift you the most. And when you have that, you stay in that vision, but you thank them already for showing you what that is and how life will be. And you just let them know that now you will work your way backwards because you want to know how that matches with the reality of, that year you're in when you see that vision. And you also ask them if there's anything they need to let you know on the way, that they please do that. And if any one of you has any particular guides you work in or spiritual beings, of course, maybe you've already seen them in your vision, but they can always be called in for additional information. And you say, okay, great, so this is going to happen in 2 years. Now let me look into 6 months prior to that. So 18 months from where you're looking at that vision, 6 months before that vision. What was that future version of you doing then? Or how were they living? How were they working? What were they doing? So they must possibly be already quite close to, the 2-year vision, but I guess something was different. They're possibly still working towards something or focusing on something, showing up in a particular way, meeting maybe a particular person that then helped them later on. Or if you were pregnant, had a kid in 2 years, maybe you were pregnant if you're a woman or something. So what was it that happened 6 months before that enabled that vision, that thing that really is so meaningful to you? What were they doing? What were they focusing on? Was it already in the same environment or was it a different one? And how were they feeling 6 months before that vision? Was it different or is it the same? And then we're moving towards a year before that vision. So a year before the vision, a year from now, what was your future self doing so that in 2 years from now they had this amazing, incredible life that led to, what you saw 18 months from now. So what were they doing to enable that? Who were they meeting? Who were they with? How were they showing up? What did their workday look like? Where did they live? How were they looking after themselves? What are they wearing a year from now? What are they eating? Were they already clear on their focus? And again, did they feel already the same, or was there maybe a little bit uncertainty? Is this really going to work out or something like that? Or maybe just excitement because they're finally on the path making it happen and seeing the first, results or something. And then you move further back, 6 months again. So 18 months before your 2-year vision, and 6 months from now, what was life looking like then? What was your future self looking then like? Again, are they very focused on that thing? Was there something else that needed to happen maybe before they could focus on that thing? Something else they had to sort out? Again, maybe someone they had to meet before they could be introduced to someone else or something. Or was by their body? Like, how are they holding themselves? Is that the same as in their vision, or is it different? What's their body like? And how do they feel? 18 months before, like, wow, how are they feeling 6 months from now? And then you go 3 months. So 3 months before the 6 months, 3 months from now. What are you doing? What's happening there? Where are you? What's your focus? What little steps are you taking to move closer to that ultimate vision day by day? Notice if there's any anxiety coming up. Maybe, is this going to work out? Or again, it could be excitement. It could be, happiness because you're finally doing the thing you've been waiting for so long. And you go back another month, 2 months from now. What do you notice? And another month. And then you can edge week by week, 4 more weeks. How were you showing up? What were you doing differently than before? How were you making sure that that vision totally came true and that you possibly really transformed over those next 2 years? And you keep doing that until you're a week from now. And then you go day by day. What were you doing 2 days from today? 1 day from today? What were you doing today after you've done this visualization that started that journey for you? And then you can check in. So you're sitting there still having this apple in your hand, that vision, and you just check in and I'm like, oh, okay, I can see how that connects to where I came from today. Or maybe it doesn't, and maybe there's still something missing. Then just ask your vision, what else? What did I not see, or what else do I need to make that happen? Are you feeling inspired now to do that first little bit of action? To take the first steps into that new reality for you? Or what needs to happen if you're not yet? And stay connected. If there's any mental chatter coming up, just say, yeah, thanks, we deal with that later. And when you feel like you have all the information you need, just check if there's anything else you want to know. And once you have everything, you thank your vision, or everyone who else was in that vision, for letting you know. And you can close that apple again. And you can thank that apple for letting you see what you needed to see. And when you close that apple, you're asked by the people who maintain that place up in the sky to put it somewhere on the side. There's a place that you hadn't seen before. It's almost like a big shelf where all the apples that had been plucked are going to sit in little niches. And they have your name on. Like your niche has your name on it. And there's a glass in front of it which is locked that only you can open. And that apple, they keep it there for you for the next 2 years. So whenever you need to come back, you can come back, and only you can open that, little glass door to that little niche where your apple is sitting. So if you ever need to see it again, you can come back, and when it's fulfilled, that apple will just disappear. It will become the soil for that tree so that more visions for more beings can grow. But until then, your apple will sit there. And knowing that, you feel good. It's because you know your vision's not going to disappear if you need it again. And there are also lots you can see, so you might want to make your way back, but you also notice that there's a lot more information in that place when you ever need it. There are places where you can get information from masters. There are, places where you can come to connect with ancestors or with other people who can help you on your journey. But for today, you only needed that vision. And you're shown how you can get back out to the place where the door is that leads you back down. And once again, you thank that place and everyone in it. And you're shown the way to the door. And you know what? When you're going back, there's a slide. You don't need to take all the stairs. You can very gently, very softly slide back down. It's not fast, but it feels quite cool. And so you do that until you get back to the bottom of the stairs. It's kind of on the back. That's why you can see it. You can only see it when you come back down. And you're at the bottom again. All right. So, and now we only need to journey back through the universe, through infinity, into a more physical reality. And so you do that. You just come slowly back down. You can see again already from above, how you're sitting in that place where you started to journey. And you just slowly come closer back down until you enter that building where you're in, or if you're outdoors, with the space above you. And you enter again through your own head until you're fully back in your body. And take a deep breath and let it go. That was a journey, wasn't it? And again, breath in, breath out. Make sure you feel again your feet on the floor and the surface you're sitting on. Make sure you're feeling grounded, as if you feel that energy that the planet, the earth is sending out, that you're really connecting with that. That's what keeps you grounded and stable on the ground. And one of those deep breaths, and you can open your eyes. Welcome back. And if you have a pen and paper, you might want to, write some things down that you saw, that stood out for you. The actions you saw that you're going to take in the next few days. The feelings that you were feeling. And in particular, I also want you to notice, things like the clothes you were wearing in your vision and the food you were eating. Because that are the things that you most likely can put into action or make happen even now. So just write anything down if you notice that. If you were eating in a particular way or wearing a particular style of clothes or something. Or maybe there were little objects around you that now when you think about it, you're like, oh yeah, I saw that in my vision. Is that something you can get right now? Or maybe you already own it, but you haven't really put it where it deserves to be. Because these things, they will make sure that you keep being reminded of that vision every day, or whenever you do them. The hairstyle, or if you don't have hair like that, maybe you were wearing something on your head or something. that's a reminder. You can remind yourself every single day, this is where we're going. This is how we're doing life now. This is how we're showing up. This is how I know it's actually going to come true. So anything like that, like the small practical things. Maybe there was a person in your vision that you kind of know, but they're not really close to you. Maybe they were in 2 years. Can you reach out to them to start making this relationship a, more important one in your life? Just write those down too. Okay. How are you feeling now? What's happening in your body? Do you feel different than before you journeyed, or the same? And you also know that you can always come back if you want to. You know now there's an apple, a golden apple, which holds all the information you need. Okay, welcome back. And maybe to finish, if you feel like you're really finished, you can also, gently rub your arms, rub your face, or give it a little pat on your neck and your arms, stand up, move, just to make sure you're grounded and connected again.